Hey everyone, welcome back to Rumble Life. This is Russell Turner, and today I have a very special guest with me. We have Wendy Vander Grinton, and she is a naturopath, a Reiki master, health coach, and energetic therapist. She holds a Bachelor of Applied Science in Physics, a Bachelor of Education in Physics and Chemistry, bachelor's degrees in Communications and Information Technology, and eclectic energetic natural healing, and she's a recognized one therapist. So that's plenty of certification. Wendy believes in the healing power of the body. So if you believe that nature has provided everything we need and you want to learn how to apply this knowledge to yourself, then you're in the right place. This is the episode for you. So stick around. Wendy, thanks so much for making the time. And we're on different parts of the world. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
Yes, thank you, Russell. Thank you for your warm welcome. I'm glad to be here and answer all these questions. It's just like you said, if you believe in nature has everything we need, then you're at the right place with me.
Fantastic. Well, I'm very excited to get into your story. I interviewed a few episodes back Shane Sterling, who's also a raw vegan and sticks on very much of a fruit diet, and that was kind of my first entrance into this modality, if we may call it that. So the idea of fruitarian and raw vegan and these approaches, I'm fascinated by many of the benefits, particularly on the detox side of those things. So I'm really excited to get into your story around that. But kind of maybe before we jump into that piece of it, so I understand maybe a year ago or so, August of last year, that is it true you moved your family at least part time into a camper van?
Yes, that's what we did.
So how is that going?
um, yeah, well, we first had to redo the truck, so the truck had to become a camper van, and that took a while and went with ups and downs. And yeah, we left a couple of times to try it out and figured out that not everything was ready. And yeah, a lot of stuff broke. I think I did the electric wiring at front to fix all the lights like 3 times or something. So like we were stuck, and then oh no, why are the lights again off? So yeah, there was a lot of work, but yeah, we eventually we ended up in France and traveling through the mountains, which was really beautiful. And we went skiing, and we had our wood stove. And this is a really really beautiful experience to wake up, and then you open your little window and you have this ice on it, and you scratch and look outside because you scratch the ice off on the inside, and you look outside like the ski piste, the slopes, you see the slopes and everything. And yeah, that was really beautiful experience. And but yeah, after 1 month the rear axle broke, so then we had to find a new one. Had it taken back to a garage, and we hitchhiked, we took BlaBlaCar, uh, we went with some people, and eventually we took Flixbus, and we ended up back in the Netherlands to repair the truck. And throw our camping gear in the car and drove our car all the way to south of Spain, to some eco village, to try out living in a rural environment with no water or electricity, just like your solar panel and your satellite internet. That was the luxury, besides our tent. And we got our own composting toilet without shelter and stuff. So that was very interesting.
Well, that's such a
um,
what a neat experience. So some people might have seen it. I made just a brief post about this on Instagram not too long ago, but a couple weeks back, we bought an old, big Grumman workhorse, which is like a food truck style. And I have kind of a special project I'm working on. I don't want to say too much about yet, but I've been doing a little bit of research into this van conversion and van life kind of stuff. And it's wow, there's a whole community built around this that I had no idea. So it was really neat to see that you're doing that. I think it's just what a great way to see your the world, and to get your family together and just different experiences and great memories and adventure. It's very fascinating. Well, so I understand that you originally at least were from or in the area of, is it Eindhoven, which is like the fifth largest city in the Netherlands. Were you born there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was born like I think 2 kilometers from where I'm sitting right now. So yeah, and I'm in Eindhoven at the moment.
Okay,
And
and
yeah,
in the early years, at least, you were, as I understand it, started your career as a gymnastics teacher, and then you mentioned that you had several side jobs to keep you busy. So What was that?
Well,
What was the
not
childhood
really.
like?
Like my gymnastics, I just did a lot of gymnastics. So I did it 5 times a week. And it's not that I was the best of the best, but I was, I was doing competitions and that. And automatically you start to help out with the little kids, and then automatically you sort of starting to train the other kids that are younger. So I was still in school when I started doing that. You can just go and be an assistant when you're 11 and assist with the 3-year-olds, and when you're 15 you can get your diploma, and you can have your own group if you want. So it was just like a side job. I did it every Wednesday, and I was doing my own thing still on the other days. But I really started, I started with, some of these temporary jobs that people have during high school and during college. So yeah, I just picked some grapes, and I worked in a warehouse, and I sold some kids books, and I worked at customer service. And actually I worked at customer service for IT, like internal service desk for people who have problems with their laptop for a really long time. That's how I got the IT diploma.
Gotcha. That's where that all started. Yeah, all those variety of experiences are so good when you're a kid. And similar to you, I had been playing. I worked in a music store, and I worked in a pumpkin patch picking pumpkins for people, and worked in a friend's fruit market, just doing side jobs, breaking down boxes, and all of those little jobs. I think are so good for young people, for kids. And then that led me into, just like you with your gymnastics, the the owner of the music store I worked in said, "Hey, we really need a guitar teacher, and I see you. You're all right. You're all right on the guitar. Why don't you start teaching?" And so I
Mm.
took on doing that without really being that good, but I sort of stayed a lesson ahead of my students and ended up making a little career out of that when I was pretty young.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, super cool. This is how I started the whole workshop thing, and I just I mean, like I'm apparently a natural at this stuff. I started meditating when I was in high school because I don't know, I just got a book and I was super interested in all supernatural stuff and how auras work, and how you can feel things outside your body, and how that works. So I started to do all these exercises, and I think I was like 15 or something. And like a couple of years later, I got my Reiki, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna organize weekends. I organized weekends. I was just the organizer. I wasn't the teacher. And after I think like 3 or 4 times, the attendees said, "Wendy, when are you going to teach?" And I was like, no, 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 I can't do that. Yes, you can. You know everything. I'm like, no, I don't want to work. I just organize this.
Uh-huh.
But I ended up giving up the intuitive techniques for Reiki intuitive techniques, and later I just called them spiritual development and spiritual intuitive techniques, and heal your inner child. And I'm still giving the same workshops, or I restarted doing them in the raw vegan community, because I noticed so many people have struggles with staying on their diet, if it's raw vegan or vegan or whatever healthy choice you're making. So I looked at the group and I said, like, hey, this group, they need that. They don't do that. Why aren't you applying this? Well, because they don't have that background, and I do. So that's really it. It was just a hobby, and then from a hobby I was interested in psychology, and from psychology I became a teacher to adolescents, and that learns you a lot of psychology.
Yeah, that's so neat. It's so neat how you can all of those things just end up applying. That's so cool. You did mention at one time that you said you had a natural intuitive capacity. You were born with that, and yet in the beginning you felt like that was a burden. Why is that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was really in the beginning when I was going to kindergarten, okay? When you are 4, you're supposed to go to school here. And when you're 6, you go to like a class where you have to sit at desk and stuff. And I remember when I was going to this kindergarten school and I was looking up at the building, I was like, yeah, now I can really learn something. Finally, I can do something in life. I was 4 or something. And I have this vivid memory exactly how I looked up and how the building looked and everything. And I went back when I was older, and it's like a super low building, but in my memory, it's really high. And I came there and I had all these expectations, like, wow, I'm going to learn things and meet other children and meet people. And yeah, I thought I was going to have fun. And what happened was, my kind of fun wasn't the other kids' fun, because when some kid would come and they would have an issue, something, something's up, they don't feel so well, I just feel that or something, and I would just, I automatically, right? I wasn't aware. I would just say, "Hey, how are you? Is something wrong?" And they would be like, "Whoa, what do you mean something wrong? Nothing's wrong. Go away." Of course, because if somebody asks, it might be very, intimate, and you don't want to share that. And especially if you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, no, 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 go away." So yeah, I remember that I told somebody about somebody's mom, like, "Oh, what happened to your mom?" I don't know why I said that. And the kid reacts very defensive, like, "What do you know about my mom? And you don't know what happened." And I was like, "Whoa, okay." And apparently the mom had been taken to the hospital in the morning, and everybody was upset. And I didn't know that. I was just like, "Oh, how is your mom?" And she was like, "You can't know that." So this is one example that happened when I was very, very little, and I think that was when I was like 6 or 7. And I started to get this feeling like I don't fit in. I'm different. I'm saying the wrong things or something. So I'll just shut up most of the time, which was really hard. But that was a struggle. And I would feel, going into a party or in a room with people, and I would just, I can say, but not everybody knows. You feel the environment, like, oh, this is a very happy atmosphere, or it's a really down atmosphere, or there is definitely some argument going on there over their atmosphere. And I was so good at feeling these environments in atmospheres in certain areas that I got dragged into it. You know what I mean? So if there was a bad experience, or some people were fighting, or there was an argument, or sometimes you have their silent war, that they don't speak, but you still they're at war, and they talk about the weather. And I could just feel like, whoa, all these tensions going on there, and I would somehow be attracted to it, curious, because I didn't understand. I didn't understand, like, what's going on here. I see something that doesn't match the feeling, and I was trying to figure this out, like, yeah, until I was like 10 or something.
That's
And it made
fascinating. Yeah,
yeah, it
it's
made
fa
me very tired.
I can imagine, especially the feeling of not fitting in, right? I mean, especially as a kid, when you're a kid and you're trying to, come into being, you want really nothing more in the world than to be loved and to have that connection with other people. And so to feel like you don't fit in can be really isolating, and yeah, I can see how painful that can be. And then eventually, as you get older, you begin to own that as who you are, and you have that sort of significance around your own being, and you come to appreciate that. So that makes sense to me. I'm just, as you're telling this story, I'm thinking about my 4.5-year-old daughter Olivia, and just yesterday, we had some of those silent moments where we were a little frustrated with her, a little upset, and I just can remember her very intuitively recognizing the mood was not good and coming over and saying, "Dad, are you upset? Mom, are you upset too?" And those sort of things. I think it's interesting because kids have that intuitive capacity, but often, I think what's interesting about your story, and I think my daughter's a little bit the same, is the curiosity and what that means. Because many could just push it aside and go back to what they're doing, but if you actually, once you notice it, then you're curious about what it means. You start to sort of understand. Um, yeah, it's like what you said about what you're seeing is different than what you're feeling, and that's so true in so many circumstances, and what a powerful characteristic to have that empathy to be able to understand what's actually going on in the room versus what's being said, and hadn't thought about it in that way before.
Yeah. Yeah, and that dragged me into it, into the mood of other people, into the atmosphere that was going on. And I wanted to get in there because I just wanted to understand. And I want to understand because I thought, if I understand better, I know what to say better, and I know how to act better so that they like me, that I am normal. And I was just studying them, like, how did he do that? What is normal? See, so I am like this small kid, like 8, 9, 10, trying to figure this out. And yeah, I didn't get it at the time. I didn't get it. Um, this realization came later.
Yeah, when you're in that moment, yeah, you understand it later in hindsight for sure. Well, I wanna get, to be also understand how your path evolved because you went through this, that young, very intuitive phase, and that stuck with you throughout the course of your life. You also then went down this very, I don't want to say traditional path, what it seems like, but very scientific path, right? So you went through in 2003, you ended up with your bachelor's of applied science and physics, and then in 2007, the bachelor's of education in physics and chemistry. You were a teacher, as I understand, or you taught science and chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so I never finished that first one. I never finished it because that's really technical physics
Hmm.
to work in, in some company called Philips. And it kind of scared me away because I was like, oh my God, there's all this old gray man in a basement. That's like the dogma or something. Do you call it dogma? uh, like pre-assumed things. And actually, when we came to we went to Philips because we were looking like, okay, this is like 1 week to see if you'd like to work there or what your job is going to be like in the future. And I came there, and literally, we went in the building, we went downstairs, and there were only these windows up top, so it was literally in the basement. And actually, there were only men, and they were all gray. So in my opinion, and I think I was 19 or 20, oh my God, it's real. It's not like this imaginary thing that I was like, no, I don't want that. And they didn't talk to me at all. And I thought, okay, I'm weird. I don't know. I know that I'm not the best communicator in the world, but they don't even talk. I can't do that. I want to work with people. I want to make something for people. I want to make people happy. Of course, I love development and analytics, and I'm good at it apparently. But I don't want to shut myself in some basement like a hermit and never come out except when I have this wonderful report once a year. So I quit, and I thought, I can do kids groups with gymnastics, so I can do a group of kids with physics. And yeah, I applied to some school and got my diploma and taught physics and chemistry.
Wow, yeah, and I read also in your bio that you worked for Brunel, which is another engineering company, is that right?
Yeah,
During
yeah,
that
yeah,
time,
yeah.
and so and I looked that company up, and if anyone wants to see something, I don't know, they have a video on the front page of their website. It's Brunel, Brunel, and the video that's promoting their firm, it just sounds like something out of 1984. It just scared the crap out of me. I couldn't believe that a video like that was promoting the company and that people would go work there. It sounded like people who are, uh, achievement mind oriented work at Brunel, and the music is dark and dreary. It was terrifying
Mhm.
listening to their the commercial about
Mhm.
their company. So I can see how
Well,
that scared you away.
I just applied at Philips again. In the end, I applied at Philips
Yeah.
because everything is Philips. Eindhoven is Philips, so not anymore, but it was a couple of years ago still. And you need some agency. You cannot like not all most jobs are not directly with Philips. It's always like you have to get hired, and then when they like you can get a steady job. And that was good for me because I thought, if I don't like it, I'll just tell Brunel that they need to find me something more in the physics area and less in the whatever they want area. But didn't work out like that. So that didn't work out. But I had some good time. Actually, I had a really good time the first 2.5 years at working at Philips. That with SAP and working and implementing databases and aligning the business process with the IT process. I really had a good time there.
Yeah, completely understand that. I just came out of about a 2-year project of doing system and business process design, for a electric utility company out here in the West, and so, yeah, I'm deeply familiar with that kind of work. I do that myself on the side, my day job now, so, totally understand that. Now, throughout that whole period, your energetic healing and this piece of your life stays, through there, and at the same time that you graduated or that you were, working on your bachelor's degrees, your early bachelor's degrees, you got very interested in Reiki, eventually became, a master Reiki. So tell me about that period. How was that interweaving throughout your early education and work?
Okay, so Yeah, I was still in the weekends, reading all these books and researching and doing all these exercises. And actually, I didn't want to do Reiki or become a Reiki master, but I wanted to know when I meditate, why do I see fire in my hands? What's all the tingling? What does it mean? And at that period, right before that period, before I started researching, I saw these pictures like these old fashioned, the old fashioned machine where you have all these pictures coming through. You click the button. I don't know what's your age, but when I was little,
Yeah,
we had
you
that.
click it and it turns around, and yeah.
Yeah, and then you have this big screen and the next one comes and the next one comes and the next one comes if you press it fast enough. Well, this is how what I was looking at when I was going to my bed and to sleep. I was like seeing all the pictures or like this, like next one, next one, next one, next one. It's like, what am I looking at? What's all these pictures? So it's like, God, universe, please tell me, what is it? I don't know. Why am I looking at this? Why are you sending me all this? Where is it coming from? What do I do with it? And yeah, I just wanted to know about that. And yeah, I also wanted to know. I had some experiences about seeing energies. So, like white energy or dark energy, or I don't know, like a shape of a person next to my bed. And I didn't know if it was like an energy, it was real ghost, or my imagination. But it happened a couple times, and sometimes it scared the hell out of me, and other times it was okay. And it happened a couple of times, but it really got me into doing more research about it because I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. My hands do stuff. Energy goes from left to right, inside and outside your body. You can feel it. All right, I know how this works now. So I approached this very cognitively, very analytical, and maybe even scientifical, because this is what we got me into studying physics in the first place, because I thought, you can learn in physics, you can learn how the world works. And eventually, after 1 year of studying this physics on my first college, I learned that you can actually, with mathematics and with all the models that all the other famous physics people made, you can actually apply it on this world, the material world, and the energetic world. It's just like you can just calculate it. And even like photons go through matter and stuff, that's super normal. It's all written down in all these books, all these, scientific books. And I was like, oh, it's real. Okay, I'm done with this study. Because this is what I wanted to know, right? I wanted to know. And at one point we had this project where I asked if we could make a machine to photograph auras and stuff, and if we can make it visible. And we could do that, and we did that. And we, I wrote the project on that, and then they said, oh yeah, you get matches, it's real. And I thought, oh yeah, it's real. You can just calculate it, photograph it, it's in all the books, it's real. What are people telling me, that whatever I feel, whatever I sense, whatever I do in my meditation isn't real? If it's just as real as the wind, you can't see it unless there's a leaf floating by. But we accept it as normal. So maybe there are all these other things are normal as well, except that most people don't agree that it's normal. And if everybody says it's not normal and you say it is normal, then you're the exception. You're weird. So this is how I approached the whole spiritual energetic world. And during that time, I just kept on, doing photo readings and distant healings. And eventually I thought, okay, I now need somebody to help me. I need a more experienced person. Books and internet can get you so far, because in the year 2000, the World Wide Web opened for me. And I was just like, go, go, go. Searching, reading. And yeah, that's when I found a Reiki master nearby. And I said, okay, this is me. I feel this, I sense this. You do Reiki. The Reiki is something that I do as well. My dad did the Reiki at the same time, and yeah, he answered all my questions, and he came to my first weekend, and he kept on coming to my weekends, and later other Reiki people came to my weekends, and because I was eventually persuaded to give um, the um, the classes, the intuitive classes. One of the other Reiki masters from the Netherlands came and he said, "Wendy, it's so time to give you your Reiki master." I was like, "Why?" He said, "You're doing everything already. Just it's my gift from you." So, and then I got that initiation at that time, so it was a gift, and I feel very blessed that I got it as a gift. He said, I got you got all the knowledge, you got the experience, and it's time for you to pass this on." So, and Reiki is still very popular right now, but I feel Earth is moving in a different direction, and we can do so much more than what Usui taught back then. And there are other systems like Theta Healing System from Vienna Stibal, and I'm doing Merkaba now, which is Merkaba is really amazing. You work with, you really work with um, all dimensions, and that's different. And I can feel it. I can feel the difference. Astral traveling is not something anymore that happens to me, but it's something I can do because of that in a safe way. With Merkaba, you learn the map of the world where the different uh, in different dimensions the different heavens are, and where other energies live and stuff. So you can, yeah, you can just go there. And now for me, like talking about it, I think, okay, I hope no everybody's not started to think, okay, now she's like this floaty weird person again. I still got that voice here, remember, in the back of my head. But when you do that for so long, you just, like me, you just accept it, and for me it's normal. And it's not really something weird, special, or floaty. I'm a very down to earth person. I'm still very analytic, and yeah, I just try to match the material world with the spiritual one.
Yeah, it's good to keep pushing your own understanding and being questioning and all of that. It's good characteristics. So, so then in if I get the dates right here, so in 2013, your son Keon is born, and you decide to make a pivot, and around that time is when you go pursue a degree in eclectic energy healing. So you're taking this thing that's been a passion for a very long time, and now going and applying um, some schooling around it above and beyond what you'd been learning. And I think you also started the Theta healing courses around that time. So what was going on around that time that your son was born?
Um, yeah, of course, you got pregnant. That does stuff to your body, um, emotionally and spiritually. Um, and yeah, also my body physically just fell apart. And I was already on this study of energetic healing, because I wanted to develop myself even more, and look for more people with my experience, or a better experience that I can ask questions to, instead of me always being the one that is helping others. I just wanted to find some expert on my subject and learn more and figure out myself more. When I got pregnant, lots of stuff happened. Uh, Before I got pregnant, half year before that, I got vaccinations for traveling to a country where you're supposed to have them. And I knew it was bad for you, and I was already in this study. And this is really important because that is what gave my body a boost downwards. In 2003, I traveled to Venezuela and I got the same shots, like yellow fever as well, and I got sick later, but I didn't know it was from the shots. I just, different country, everything can happen. But looking back, my allergies started to get really bad, and um, my brain wasn't doing anymore what I like to do. And that got better over time, working with homeopathy, with the drops that I got from the one therapy. And then we flew to this other country. This is before I got pregnant. We were talking about maybe children, yes, no, but this is before. And I got the shots eventually. and I just floated out of my body right there, and I couldn't speak, I couldn't move myself. They really had to put me on this table over there, and then they shut the other arm, and that felt very being, yeah, not in control, like, um how do you say, depowered or something?
Yeah, disempowered.
Like, disempowered, yeah. And it took a while before I could speak again, and it was a very strange feeling because I was literally looking at my body, and I could still sort of think, but not really process it. And that took I don't know how long, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. But I just followed my partner who was with me at the time outside the building, and I just like hold him and walk with him like I can't think. I couldn't think. It's so weird, and I could barely walk. I was like guided outside. I came outside, and then the burning started in my hands, and I got rash, and I was like, "Oh no!" Because I just worked 3 years homeopathy, breath work, saunas, exercises, loads of therapists, like I think different 30 different kind of people I ask for help, and maybe some even at the same time. And I'm very strict. When I do somebody's protocol, I do the protocol because I am one of these person who don't fail. That's like not in my vocabulary. So I was very, very hard on myself. And I thought if I'm being more hard on myself and I do all these things, I get there, right? I make myself healthy because I believe in nature. There's got to be a cure for this. There's got to be a solution, and there has to be. I otherwise I can't live. That's basically my belief. And
No, so is that what made you was that what sort of compelled you then to go pursue that bachelor's in the,
yeah, so
field?
I already had that. I
You were already
already
in that
wasn't.
program.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was already in that,
okay.
and it's very slow. You like once every 2 weeks, you go to that school, and you get a load of homework. But it's very for somebody who did physics at this university, it's very
This
easy.
was a piece of cake, yeah. So
Yeah.
you mentioned you another thing that I wanted to touch on or that I found really interesting as I was looking at your stuff, that you were when you were 10 years old, you got really interested in herbs, and you said that it became kind of a hobby that got out of control, you joked. What was that all about?
Joke, yeah. Yeah, yeah, because, when I was, like, 10, when I was in the school, remember, where I was, not feeling that I fit in and everything, we went to this, nature museum thing. It's like I don't know what the name is in English, but it's a big museum in the Netherlands, like, the biggest, and, they have, like, dinosaurs and, stones and all these kind of crystals and all that stuff about everything to do with geology, really. Because I wanted to study that. I wanted to go to college to study geology because I wanted to know how, where man came from and how the earth was formed and all that at that time. And I know as a 10-year-old, I had interesting hobbies. So this was one of my hobbies. And I went there, and there was this lady, and she just said, like, okay, um, this is all the crystals, and all the crystals have a purpose, and they heal your body. And she gave me a chart. Wow, really? So I started healing people with these stones. And then in the same research where I wanted to know, like, where does men come from and how have we evolved? I know about Darwin at that time. That's what you learn in school. But I was in a Catholic school, so you also learn about God created the earth. And both of them, I was like, I don't know, how did it happen? How? And what if I was living in that area? So we have this prehistoric village, and at that time there was a group who tried to live in the Netherlands, pretending it's prehistoric for 1 week. Adults, all adults. So really, like, you get nothing, right? You go in there like naked, and it's cold here, and you have to make and do everything manually, like you actually live there. And I know that it was really hard for them, but they still have uh, this experiment. This is still very, very famous here. So I went there, and you can do as a kid, you can go one day and you can do all these things that they did, and they did that. And there we met the lady, and she had this herb garden. Okay, this is tea for this, and this is tea for that, and this herb you can make tea. And I was like, oh, so it's not tea leaf, but plants from the Netherlands. and they're good for, headaches. And I was like, oh, okay, so we have all these crystals from the earth that help us, and we've got all these herbs from the earth that help us. Amazing. So I just started doing whatever they said, and I just trusted. I'm a very naive child. I just trust everybody, and I just went with them. I just like, oh, they're an adult, that's probably correct what they're saying, not even probably. That's just true. I just believe them. And I just started helping my mom and my dad and my grandma, and people I meet. Yeah, yeah, you need amethyst if you have headache. And if you have too much pain, you need to take willow and you make tea from it and it'll help. It's the same as aspirin, but then natural, you know? So I was just like 10 going around helping people like that.
But you are
Yeah, that was
a natural born healer. Now, even with,
apparently.
even with all of that experience and drive for healing and for understanding the body and your intuitive nature and all that, you still ended up with what I heard described as sort of 25 years of pretty intense health issues that you struggled with, leading to a point where even you could only go up and down the stairs once a day.
Yeah. When I was pregnant, yeah, and right after. Yeah, and I think, I never applied that stuff to me. When I was little, I had been inflamed and cold feet as long as I can remember, and it never came to me that, um, I could solve that, you know? Or that it was a really big problem, that it was a disease you can heal or something. It never occurred to me when I was a child. So I never talked to myself about my pains, but I heard other people's pains. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand. You are so busy looking at other people's conditions, you can see the problems there, the things that you're noticing, but with yourself, it's normal because it's something you're with every day, so you're normalized to it essentially.
Yes, and I had it really from this primary school. So, and some things like bad circulation, being anemic. My mom has it too, and my grandma. And it's like you're born with it, so it's so part of you that you don't recognize that it's something you can change. And when I tried, and I went to the hospital, and I had 3 real attempts to go to people until I found a solution, and it got me even in more trouble. It got me the radioactive stuff they inject, and then you can, look at some screen and they tell you, "Yeah, your veins are not working. I already know that. How are we gonna solve it?" And then they're like, "I don't know. You have to live with it." It's like, "What? You're the doctor. What?" They go to this doctor and they do another test and then they do this test and then that test. And I'm like, "No." I just said when I was 10, I said, "I quit. I want to be normal. I shut up. I don't do spiritual stuff. I don't do weird stuff. I'm very normal. I'm going to do what other people do. And then it's going to be fine when I go to a new school." And later, when all these images came, remember that? I sort of woke up. Well, I was meditating a lot. Basically, I was escaping life by meditation because my life was pretty shitty. And that my feet are cold in the winter, that was not something that was going on all the time because it maybe freezes like 3, 4, 5 times in the winter. That I'm anemic. I didn't know that. I just, you know, be who I am. I didn't know like it's a problem. So yeah, I
So at
and
what
this
point do
yeah.
you sort of discover that it's a problem? Because you also mentioned, that you had gone through and tried
So
tons of different diets, right? You went through and you tried being, paleo, you went to gluten-free, you tried
yeah,
vegetarian, vegan, sort of 3 different times. You did the E diet, which is, of course, makes sense, getting rid of all the chemicals, but you went through and tried
yeah.
a bunch of different things to heal yourself. So at what point did you start to recognize there's something I need to solve here?
What time I realized that I need to solve something. I When went to live in my own place, it was 2006, I think March 2006, and I went to do my own shopping, and I bought what my mom would buy. I noticed that I bought a lot of milk and a lot of cornflakes. Basically, lived on cornflakes and milk for 15 years. And I was like,
Sounds like my
okay,
childhood.
sugar's not really good for you. Right. So, and I think I was back with my parents still. Yeah. So before that, I tried to quit tea because I was like, okay, coffee's bad, tea's bad, black tea's bad, sugar's bad. So I thought, okay, I'm drinking milk with tea and sugar every day, all day. I'm breakfast with cornflakes and milk. Okay, I hate bread. I don't like bread at all. Makes me feel bad. It doesn't taste good. It's just smelly. I don't want bread. So I was always one of these. I think that didn't help. I just brought cauliflower to school and cucumbers and whole tomatoes because I sort of steal them from the fridge, and my mom would say that I wasn't, oh, did you take the cauliflower? I was like, yeah, because I don't like bread, you know. And well, so when I went to live in my own place, and right before that, about the tea, I switched from black tea with milk and sugar to black forest tea. So they add some berries in the bag, and it tastes sweet. So I was like, yes, I could do it, no sugar. So I was already aware of that, and it went slowly. So I still bought like Nescafe with numbers and colorings, but I never bought like real candy. But I did do a lot of sugar and Kit Kat and Twix and Mars bars and all those things. Like one a day, like my mom told me, and slowly I got into learning that my mom and my grandma and my grandfather is a chef cook. Like he's been do you say that? Cook, chef,
Cook.
cook. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chef.
And so he would make these French recipes always because the Netherlands kitchen is French kitchen really. Like these very special dishes and meats and fish and all that. They look all fancy and stuff. So I was like, okay, he makes everything from scratch. That's probably better than all the stuff with sugar. And I started to look into the chemistry more, and I thought, okay, I'm basically eating junk food here. This is really bad for me. Why am I doing that? Okay, let's quit all the chemistry and just start to make everything myself. So I started to make everything myself, uh, including bread. And all of a sudden, I did like bread. Like, oh, I do like bread. When I make it and it's coming right from the oven, I do like it. So I thought that was an improvement. And slowly, yeah, slowly the sugar went, and I think it took about 3, 4 years um, that I said, okay, apparently food is really important if it comes to health, right? Because nobody says that. No doctor says that. No nurse says that. No colleagues say that. If your parents don't say it and your neighbors don't say it, how do you know? So started to dawn on me, and that's when I thought, okay, I just go not paleo because I didn't know the word, but I have to go back to what these primal people did. Remember the prehistoric village? It's like, okay, I'm gonna do that. What they made back then. Just make everything yourself and get it organic and fresh. So we went completely organic. If we have meat or fish around, I think it was 2009 to 2011 that this happened. I would just look up wild animals, and they lived free, and I was okay with that happened. And I tried a couple of times, like 3 times, to be vegetarian, but I just couldn't do it. The anemic would go really bad, and I would just see food everywhere. I would just see doves and wanted to eat them, and see deers in the park and wanted to eat them. So that didn't work. Um, Basically, because they tell you have to eat soy, and I didn't agree with soy. So okay, soy's bad, so I can't have that. So then rice and legumes, but they made my belly feel really bad and in pain, and that made all my inflammation in my legs worse. That hurt. And so how did I solve the inflammation around that time, 2010, 2011? Basically by changing shoes. I walk now with barefoot shoes or like barefoot sandals. and barefoot if it's warm, that solves a lot of problems in your legs. And quit all the dairy and slowly went into this paleo diet. So I was basically eating vegetables all day and having warm vegetables and soups and stuff. But yeah, it was very good for me. And that was like, oh, I'm still alive. I feel better. And I did a lot of homeopathy myself. And I think yeah, around 2011 that I really quit like 100%. Uh, no coffee in the holidays, you know. Um, no fake almond milk. You know what I mean? I would still make like fake cappuccinos with almond milk and plant-based grain bamboo coffee, like fake coffee or chicory coffee. Um, yeah, that's when the food changes started to happen, and it went slowly. Except when we went completely paleo, I just donated all my food, all the grains and the legumes. I just donated them all.
Right. So then it's if I got it right, it's your son Keon was about 2.5 years old, and there's a pivotal moment for you where you're still breastfeeding and you're trying to figure out how to do a juice fast at this period, and worrying about the dangers potentially of that with breastfeeding. And he clicks on a video as you're streaming, and this is sort of a pivotal moment for you. So tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a really important moment. So whenever I got pregnant, I figured out that fruits and veggies are the best for you. And of course, some some meat and fish is not going to kill you. And that's basically what we live on. And I'm trying to feed my child new food, right? But he can't have anything. He just throws up or it comes out undigested on the other side. And I'm like, okay, apparently there are people who live on juice. Why on earth would you do that? So I meet one of these people and I ask them, this is good for you. I'm like, why? It can't be good for you. You have to eat. And so they explain, and I'm like, hmm, interesting. But you can't do it while you're breastfeeding because it's very dangerous for your child. And I'm like, okay, how long do I have to wait? Because I'm really in pain. I can't go up and down the stairs. I am like, my body's falling apart. My joints are not sitting together because the ligaments aren't holding it together. This has got to do with my liver energy, but I'm done with all these, drops full of alcohol. And I don't want to live on drops and homeopathic globalies and go to the physio and the osteopath for the rest of my life and try to stay alive because my brain was so foggy I could not read a whole 4A paper. Like halfway, I would just forget. So my day basically with my child was trying to survive, trying to sleep because he didn't sleep, and trying to figure out how we can get rid of food intolerances, right? And I did that thing which is still helpful for people and still helping me, but it's not completely solving the problem. And I'm Googling, I'm YouTubing, I'm just looking at YouTube, like, can you live on fruits and veggies, right? How about eating vegetables only? Like, you don't find people who are raw vegan or fruitarian. You don't find them if you Google that. And or you find something very extreme, like Shan or something, or somebody who did a water fast for God 200 days, because I found that girl. It's like, right, she looks like she's dying after 200 days, so I'm not doing that. And I would just have judgments on them, the girl, the water fast for God girl. I think, oh my god, she did amazing right now, but back then I just thought you're crazy. And I just clicking through the videos like fast, like, please give me the right one, give me the right one. I need info. And some moms here do mama detox, which is a sort of okay. And I was like, I'm just gonna sort of not lie, but not tell the whole truth about the breastfeeding because I was basically still breastfeeding and like 2, 3 times a day. And when he got sick, he lives on that. But I thought I have to do something because what I've been doing until now is not working, and it cannot get worse. It cannot get worse. It's got to be better than this. So I did go on fruits and veggies. After 3 weeks, you're supposed to rebuild, and they tell you to eat cooked grains and rice, and then you can have your fish. I was like, no, no, fish. I want to be vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for 3 weeks. Oh my God, I can do this. I was just replacing it with the wrong food. So I'm going through this list, like Googling all this time, YouTubing every day. And I am at the computer and I'm holding my mouse, and then little Keon comes and he's like touching the mouse. I'm like, no, no, go away. I need to find this really. Like, I only have 30 minutes before I have to go to city council. Please, please go away with your hand. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go to the toilet, to have a break. I'm going to the toilet. I'm coming back and he's with his little hand on the mouse. I'm like, oh, no. He moves the thing, click. And he says, I, but then in Dutch. I'm like, oh, all right. We watch the I. And there in the video is Dr. Robert Morris telling us about iridology, his eye from this lady who had stage 4 cancer. And you saw the first picture of her eye, and he says, oh, this and this and this is all wrong. And I was like, oh yeah, I know. I did something like that back in 2003 or something, I did like a little course on that. And he goes on, and she's like, oh, I'm curious what happened to the lady with the cancer, right? And then he shows this other eye, like, this is her eye now, and she went 52 days on grapes, and look, it's getting better. And I was like, oh, and they showed the x-ray pictures as well. I was like, it's shrinking. And I was like, whoa, this all makes sense. And Keon clicked that eye, it made sense. It just made sense because at that time I was on a grape seed, raspberry, cumin, and cane sugar supplement. And I did the whole research on that chemistry and why it's good for me, because I'm not against supplements, but my experience was, if you start supplements, they're like medicine but natural. You have to keep eating them to stay okay, and it's not really solving the root cause, and I want to solve the root cause problem, right? And it just made sense. I was like, oh, so you just quit eating all this other stuff that makes your body go into detox, all the rubbish comes out because rubbish makes pain. Right. And I just like, okay, so my supplement, because he said that about resveratrol and all these other chemicals that are in grapes. And I was like, this is why I'm on the supplement. So basically, what I have to do is quit eating all this other stuff and just go on the grapes. And he goes on like fruit, berries, and melons. I'm like, whoa, does he have more videos? So my partner comes home and I tell him, like, I found it, Keo found it, he clicked on an eye, look at this video. And he's like, yeah, this is, because I had a couple of times one of these epiphanies, like, I found it. I said, no, this is really it. This one I'm gonna do. It's like, yeah, okay, you do it. And so I don't know, we have to ask him what he thought. But I started cleaning out the cabinets and the fridge, and I brought all the meat to my parents. And I gave away the food to the food bank, where for people, have a pass and they can get free food. And yeah, so next day I looked up, of course, I kept on going with the videos from Robert Morris. And he just goes, oh, fruit, berries, and melon. I'm like, fruit, berries, and melon. I love fruit. He's like, yeah, you can just eat also watermelon, and it's really good for you because, and again, all these chemicals. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. I need those. I know, I did research on me and my problems, and I was already also on B12 at the time, B12 supplement, because at the pregnancy I just had to. They did tests, and the midwife said you have to get the B12, and it really helped with my energy level because it was way worse in the beginning before I got those, and I really felt when I stopped taking them for like 2-3 weeks that I had to take another one. So and I thought, okay, so I'm gonna do that. And then with that supplement, I was still taking those little bags with the grape seed and everything, and the fruit. I was able to build off my B12 pills. I'm so proud of this because they tell you when you go vegan, you have to get B12. And I went vegan and I quit the B12, which is super funny.
And have you had those levels tested then, and they're fine now?
No, I haven't had. No,
Yeah.
I have.
But you just feel your
Yeah,
energy is there.
yeah, I have had. Of course, I'm now. I can test myself. I even got a machine just for the fun of it, but I test manually. And I was still in that school of mine that went therapy, and you can just ask a colleague to test you. So I didn't do blood tests at the doctors anymore. I don't feel like paying and going to visit there if you can test it in a way that is not harmful. So I haven't. But I did have a test back then, in I think 215, 216, something like that. So I have my last blood test from the doctor. Yeah, I have it, and they said it was okay.
So you
Mm,
start this journey down this very raw food, fruit, focused sort of fruitarian, as you call it, diet, and, you had described the first period, which I heard the same thing from Shane Sterling, that when you first start to go on kind of this all fruit approach, your body just flushes out toxins, so you go through these periods of not really necessarily feeling too good, and I think for you, it was in the range of, like, a month or 4 to 6 weeks, something like that, and then after that, once your body sort of normalizes and gets rid of all that toxicity, then you start to really feel the benefits and feel the energy and the life kind of come back. It
um,
seemed like that was a similar
yeah,
experience for you.
a little bit different. Similar, but a little bit different. I did the 3-week mom detox for moms who breastfeed. That was with warm cooked food. I didn't have a juicer, so I made the juices. I made what they said on the. I just bought a course, like a 3-week thing, and I did smoothies. So I did like blueberry smoothies, and I made all the recipes and the soup. So it was liquid. It was liquid, but it was warm and cold and raw and not raw. And I did take the green super powder. I took that before as well, but and I took the adrenal tablets, and I took the whole thing that I learned in school and all my colleagues told me because I thought it was just hit it hard. um, that was a period I sat a lot on the toilet. Those 3 weeks. After that, you're supposed to rebuild. So I did have like some cooked food and some here and there. But after I found that Dr. Morse thing, and then the next day when my partner came home, I was shopping. I told you I gave everything away. I went shopping. I got myself one of these, Moroccan huge watermelons. And I just took it on the table and I cut it in half. And I made all these little, blocks from it. I chopped it up, let's say, and I was with my fork and I said, okay. He says, aren't you eating? I said, I'm eating. What are you eating? I'm eating this. And at that time, I was feeling amazing compared to in December. I started this detox on December 30 because I couldn't wait until January 1st. I was too eager to start. And I was feeling pretty good. I didn't want to eat the other food anymore. That made me feel worse again. My brain started really to improve a little bit, and I was you must see that I felt tired all day. I felt lethargic. I felt foggy, like somebody drugs you. Like you can't sleep because when you wake up all the time because it hurts on your hip, you know? And when you wake up and your neighbors are rebuilding and you hear all this noise, it hurts your head because they make the noise. This is how I went through my day, right? And then when I went to politics, I just pretended, oh, I'm fine. I have to work. So I just like cut it all out and numb myself and just do my work, you know? And I thought at that time it was okay until I knew better. And that was 6 weeks after I found the first video, because that was in March, beginning of March. And the beginning of, I think the beginning of June, something like that. I My brain fog was away. I did not have heart palpitations anymore. I could walk up and down the stairs. I could sleep normally. And my child, Keon, was going on this diet as well. So no more gluten. I knew this was bad for him, but just fruits and veggies. Fruits and veggies, no other stuff. And he slept through the night in March for the first time in 2.5 years. And I slept through the night in 2.5 more because I was pregnant first, so 3 years, three something years. And I finally got sleep, and sleep is super, super important. So you should do whatever you can to get the sleep you need, and sleep through the night, not wake up every hour and a half. And that contributed as well. So in June, I was like, yeah, let's go camping. Let's go on holiday. I'm not sure if I can climb the mountain, but I can try walk up a hill, and I can do it. I did it, and halfway I carried Keon, and I gave Keon to my partner, and he carried him halfway. But in June, so I started this journey actually, you know, that's December 30th, and in June I was a different person. I was so happy that I was allowed to eat the whole watermelon myself, and it makes you feel better. I was like, oh my god, you guys, do this. Just do it. You don't have to have one slice after dinner. You can have it for dinner. It'll be your dinner. And you can have unlimited grapes. You can eat unlimited. You can eat as much as you want. You won't go fat. Actually, I did, but that was a good thing.
Yeah, from the water of the watermelon, right? You mentioned you got the water belly.
Last year I did, but back then I didn't. I was very, very skinny. I was very skinny, and I gained, and that was very good.
Yeah,
I
you,
gained on a
you gain
fruitarian diet.
right. You gain to a healthy to your healthy weight.
Exactly.
From the anemia, yeah, that's a good thing for sure.
Yeah.
So now you've gone through such a wild journey here, and on top of that, you've done I mean, just so much research into this from all different fields, and you've had this intense curiosity from the early age, from 4 years old in kindergarten, and so where has this led you to today? How do you think about today? What is sort of the view on optimal diet and juicing and fruits, and where does meat fit in? How do you think about optimal nutrition today?
That's a couple of questions into one, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think being healthy and happy is something that you approach from a physical level as well as an emotional and spiritual level. And all three of them combined make you feel like you can thrive and you're happy and you're healthy. Not everybody on a raw vegan diet feels happy and healthy. And even people who've been long term raw vegans have emotional struggles. They have never done any meditation, maybe, or never heard of it even. They can have issues and have to go to the hospital as well. So it's not 100% diet. Um, you have spiritual people live in India, sit on a mountain, and they're all happy and bliss. And you think, spiritual is the way to go. We do energy healings all day and we'll solve all our problems. Then you have people who control the mind, the thought, the law of attraction. What you think is what you get. You know what I mean? And so, and I believe that you have to have all these aspects. These I just mentioned are examples, but all the aspects of life that give you your health and your happiness and that you can thrive. I believe humans are here to grow, and experience in a human life is an opportunity for us to grow as a soul. And you can do it in numerous ways. And looking at yourself compassionately and looking at somebody else compassionately and be okay with what you eat is just as important as the thing that you actually put in your mouth. And that together gives you a sort of control over your life, because we all want to be in control, but it's a way of, it's not a forcefulness control, like I need to control what's happening. No, it's more letting go of your controlling your mind and being more in your intuition, and let your soul, and your soul's talking to you, right? You are your soul, like it's giving you hints in the back of your head if you know it or not, and just go with that flow. And if you have your basic needs, you have your food, you have your, you know, your family, you have love, you have connection, you have, you're safe. You know, if you have these basic emotional needs covered, like they tell you in psychology, and you let go of your mind and your thoughts, and you let your intuitive self come through, you can feel your intuitive self, you can feel your soul, you can feel if left is the good choice or right is the good choice. And if it attracts you to raw food, it's amazing, because for me, the iridology video from Robert Morris saved me. And I feel like that. I owe him. I don't care if he eats cooked food and whatever. He's a wonderful person because he's sharing all his knowledge, and it saved me. So this raw food detox saved me. But detox is a physical process, for your body, and you let go of old physical chemical substances in your body. But we are a chemical factory, and factories, you know, heat. Heat is energy. You can't see heat. You can make it visible. You can't see it. Electricity. You can't see electricity. You can make it visible, um, but you can't see electricity itself. And it's the same with our bodies. We have the same electricity, and this is what I call the energy, and your energetic body and your soul. And all these things work, you know, these work together. And when you go into detox and you have this chemistry factory of yours getting rid of the physical toxins, your electricity in your body changes as well, right? Your potential differences change on all the places. They go back to the balance that they're supposed to have, the homeostasis you're supposed to have. And constantly, you as a soul, you have all these, you exist in all these different dimensions. You as a soul have our energy goes in your body and out, like through the chakras, it goes in your meridians, it communicates with your guides or your guardian angels or whatever you name it, and it all happens without you being aware. Or sometimes you are aware, and you can become aware of that, and it'll help you if you are aware, because then you can have more direct guidance and move towards your goals faster. So when it comes to diet, this is the way I look at it. And when you talk about specifically, and I'll go into the next question, right? Unless you have specific questions about this,
No, no,
Russell?
I think, first off, I really appreciate you, you know, highlighting that point, because I think it is a very important point. I think, I think, in the world today, it's very easy to become polarized, and people get very dogmatic about their views to a point where they put other people down, or they don't accept other people if they don't completely fit into their own box. And I think that can happen in the vegan community, as well as in sort of the keto, paleo, carnivore community, where you look at a vegetarian and you think that's a horrible way to do it, it's all wrong. And if you're a vegetarian, you look at meat eaters and you think that's a horrible way to do it, it's all wrong. And there's a morality component and all of those. So I think I just love that you highlighted that, because I think it's extremely important that, if people are following their own intuition and they're doing the best that they can do, and they're trying to find the answer, we should appreciate that and have empathy for that, whether they decide to eat meat or whether they decide to eat fruits and only fruits. I think we need to be more open as a place to start. So I think I appreciate that you highlighted that.
All right, thank you. Yeah. So as it comes to more to diet and nutrition, um, so yeah, I can only say from my experience and the experiences from all the people I met and all the 300 videos. There are now 400, but I did the 300 videos from Robert Morse. I can tell you that so many thousands and thousands of people healed their body on a raw vegan diet, and that or fruitarian. That doesn't mean you have to be hard on yourself like I did. Being compassionate about you and what you eat is more important than being 100% raw or stay to your 100% juice fast or staying to somebody else's protocol for 100%. It's never about the 100%. It's about you doing what you can and choosing those foods. And I know that your body has is full of bacteria, right? And we live with that in symbiosis with bacteria, but also with like worms and parasites, and give them all these names. Without them, we can't live. And if you've eaten cornflakes and meat like me your whole life, you bet you in your intestine, your flora with bacteria and worms are there to digest your meat and your cornflakes. If you stop eating that and you go vegetarian or you go vegan, they're going to complain. And literally, there's tons of research on this. They send signals to your brain that you got to eat meat. But it can also be, in my case, that you're so lacking of iron and B12 and all that stuff that the only way your brain knows where to get those is in the red meat. And there, so there is never a black and white in this. And whatever you're craving, if you're trying to change your diet, remember that it has to do with the old you, with what you've been eating before. If you were a baby and we gave you fruits and veggies only, you would not want to kill your little bunny. Definitely not. So, but if you're an adult and you're changing, and remember that your flora, your bacteria are wanting what they always got. Now there is your brain, and your brain has been trained. It's memorized pictures, it's memorized smells, they're linked to emotions, they're linked to good experiences. Pizza, everybody has pizza for a party. So pizza is hard for people because they're linked to party in the brain. So your brain is not working with your goal to be 100% raw vegan because you think party and the brain goes pizza, somebody else's pizza at the party, and you're like, oh, I can't have it. Well, there you go. That's not compassionate. Compassionate is, I can have it. Do I want to make the choice that I eat it? Yes or no? And to always feel free. Feel free to have the choice. And this is the best tip, advice, whatever I can give you. Remember that every craving has this link, and whatever you choose in the moment is, make it a conscious decision and decide if you want to be the new you or you want to be the old you. And remember that the old you has all these memories and is making you go back to where you were, because this is how our biological bodies are made. This is safe. In paleo time, it was safe. Do what everybody else does. Blend in, be a group, go together, do what you always did, because you haven't died the way you lived your life until now. So just keep on going so you won't die. But do you want to not die, or do you really want to live? And I really like this I want to live part. I want to grow, I want to thrive, I want to learn. So this is the best I can say about this. um and yeah, if I'm talking about nutrition, there is there are more sides to it than there's nutrition, because whatever you're lacking, it's always linked to something emotionally, and that's always linked to something spiritually. It's directly linked to some meridian and some chakra, and it has to do with the theme that you're working on in your life. And B12 has got to do with fear. Low iron's got to do with fear, fear of really living, fear of people, fear of really being here in your body. I thought my body was a scary place to be. And I've always thought that because of what I explained about in the primary school, but also my experience that I had from birth, and yes, I do remember, and yes, I healed it so many times, and now I'm really happy how my birth happened. But that says something about you. So you can be anemic because of something that happened when you were a baby, um, or you can crave pizza because something that happened when you went 1 year old birthday party. And just know that it's all linked together, and it's not you. You are your soul. Your body is your vessel, and you have the choice to do with it whatever you want. And the nutrition you're lacking is saying something. So just do your research and figure it out. Figure it out. That's what I do. I help people figure out what it means. And when you do that, you get this blueprint, this map of what happened in your life and your emotions you're going through now, struggles you're going through now. It's really beautiful. It's very analytic. It's very cognitive, but that's what I do, and I really love how to see how it all matches. And that, for me, and I hope for a lot of others, gives the insight in how I work, how my body works, and how I can move forward instead of backwards. So I hope this answers the question on
It does. It's well.
on
It's very. Yeah.
nutrition.
It's well said. I think it's not necessarily the answer that I wanted to hear, but it's a good. It's the answer, right? Because it's not as easy as here's the formula. I think you're you know you're correct in saying that this is a complicated question, and you have to be intuitive, and you have to pay attention to how things are making you feel. You have to look at the particular problems that your body might be having and find ways to solve them. So it's really I appreciate the answer for sure. And I do
Okay.
want to hear
Yeah.
I do want to hear a little more about your practice as well, and maybe you can also just kind of briefly um tell us about what you have been doing with the Dutch Fruit Festival.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, because we could talk nutrition for the whole day. I mean, I can talk about nutrition. I can talk about the individual chemicals. So, yeah, we can go all into the physical details. We could do that, but I'd rather give something that people really, can who are listening to this right now can work with. And yeah, and I'm just saying, if you're not there, if you're not ready to be a raw vegan, just skip all the chemicals and stuff, and or become vegetarian, or become vegan, or become paleo if you want to eat meat and no grains. Like whatever you do, if you replace 30% of your food because you leave out meat with veggies, you got more veggies. If you quit all the grains and you replace them with fruit, you got more fruit. So you're always improving. And no matter what choice is yours, one of these is probably yours. Choose them. So this is what I want to say about nutrition. Um, okay, my practice. Yeah, what do I do? Is that what you want to know?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I think maybe just a brief view into how it might look to work with you and how you do that. I imagine a lot of it's remote since you're traveling in a camper van some parts of the year, and
yeah,
yeah, and then kind of how as we kind of wrap up, like how can people find out more about that?
okay. Yeah, so my practice is Healthy by Wendy. And as I said, I'm an energetic therapist. That means that I test people energetically with loads of stuff, from um, vitamins and minerals to chakras, energy fields. Um, this all becomes together in a map. I can do testing with a picture. You can meet me. We can test you right then and there, which is a really beautiful experience. I also now bought this really cool machine, and you hold the stick, and it also tests a lot of stuff. But it's more for fun than and your own knowledge than it is for me to help you. Um, so with that, you can also measure how, when you begin with the therapy is always um, finding your conflicting subconscious beliefs that are holding you back, um, that are creating repetitive problems in your life. People have the same thing, like, oh, it's happening again, it's happening again. And we focus on those, and we seek what's below that, and we find the root cause of that. And energetically, with a healing, it's called theta healing, you can change that in like an instant. So, and we go to the next one, and like in 30 minutes we changed so many of those. And you learn why your biggest problem is actually your greatest gift and your greatest experience, and how it shaped you, and how you learn as a human, as a soul, this experience. And once you see that, it's very easy to move on, especially if we change it like literally, energetically. And then with exercises that you get from me, we really make sure that it's get like in your brain. Like, you have to look at it like in your brain as well as energetically. There's this big road highway. You've always followed that road, and you want to make changes, but it's just not working. You have the fifth car accident. It's always the car. Like, if you have the car accident, that's your thing. That's an example. And we go see what behind it. We change it. You do the exercises, and it's not happening anymore. And I hear from a lot of people, they really feel different right after the therapy. Like, whoa. And sometimes it's like takes 1, 2, or 3 sessions, but no more than 3. And then you really feel next time I don't know if it's about pizza, you enter that party, you really have a choice. It feels different. You're not pulled toward the pizza anymore. You're like, hey, I'm free. I feel free. So it's really changing something directly physically as well as energetically. So that's what I do with the therapy, as well as like body work, like finding sometimes blockages if somebody has pain, and from there we go into the same solution. And you can also be supported sometimes with supplements, and only natural. I only use raw ones, vegan ones, if it's really necessary. Sometimes not vegan ones. Um, but depends where you are in your life, what your diet is at the moment. Have you done other therapies? What your specific pain or problem is? Um, so it really depends. But if you go through everything, and I had a couple of clients over 2, 3 years who went through everything the same as I did, so eventually they end up water fasting and juice fasting, and enjoying their job, enjoying life, and feeling atmospheres, and going to spiritual courses and reading spiritual books. But compared to when they came to me, oh no, I'm diabetic, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, I don't know if I like my life, I don't know if I need to move to another country, I don't know if I like my house, I'm so depressed. They And then I ask them, do you feel your feet? And they're like, what do you mean? To feeling auras. And I say, okay, let's do this energetic exercise, and they can really feel, oh, I can do this aura thing. So it's my work is really wide, and in a sense very difficult to explain, but to actually do it and experience it, it's really super simple. It's like a trick. If you've never seen a bike and you don't know how to ride a bike, it's super difficult to explain. But once you ride your own bike, I say, can you ride a bike? And everybody knows what I mean. And it's the same with this. So yeah, everybody can do it. I'm 100% sure of that. And people who really need to change their diet because they're in pain, I offer them a coaching program, for like a mild coaching program, like every month for 6 months, or like very intense every week for a whole year, to really make sure that they stick to the diet. And the time can also be used to take away these limiting beliefs, as well as keeping them up to track with exercises, and writing down exercises. I don't mean running, I really mean like writing down stuff, meditating, specific visualizations, specific breath work, going to the sauna, stuff like that. So yeah, this is what I do. And some people come once a month, and some people come twice, some people come once. And yeah, depends what you're trying to heal.
Yeah, and it is remote as well, right? Not just in
Yeah,
person.
I do everything. Basically, I do everything remote, except when I do meet people and they're like, oh, I want to do healing with you. Okay, we're gonna do healing. And yeah, so the if you really want to have the personal experience, then exactly like you said, the Dutch Fruit Festival is a really good place. We organized this in July 2020 again, and it's not a really big festival. we can have about 60 to 70 people. And yeah, there are going to be some talks from people who've been 30-year raw vegan or fruitarian, and there's going to be offerings of yoga every morning. And I'm going to offer my healing workshops, so the intuitive techniques. We're going to do a workshop that connects to your inner child and heal that and connect to your higher self and talk with your higher self. And the advanced groups go really into feeling auras on each other and seeing them. And I'm just going to explain to you, and you're going to do it, how to use your energy to your best benefit, so you do not have to be tired anymore. And yeah, you learn all these techniques from yoga and running and breath work, as well as visualization. And this is, we really do things with our hands, and we feel the energy and we feel the aura. And it's very interactive, so you're not sitting still all the time. But this is a Dutch fruit festival, and we'll give you fruit all day. And we have a French raw vegan chef who's absolutely amazing. Her name's Flo, Raw Flo, and she's in charge of the kitchen. Well, of course, and we made the recipes together to make really nice low fat raw vegan recipes for dinner, so that you can really experience what it's like to eat on this diet. And it doesn't mean you have to be raw vegan or fruitarian, or that you really want to be for the rest of your life. But you do experience a detox during that week. And I'm here as a therapist, and we've got 30-year experienced people as well, who are also coaches. So we have enough people to catch you when you fall. And yeah, this is the best place to be if you want to grow and explore. And really, if you should to look at the videos from the Dutch Fruit Festival to see the vibe. Um, if I hoped it was a life-changing experience for people, and it actually changed a lot of lives, and people were so extremely happy. And I've never had such a great party in my whole life. It was really the best thing that I did in my life last year. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, so that's coming up in July 2020. And so did I get this right? So it's healthbywendy.com is where your site is, and you're pretty active, I think, on Instagram as well, which is Health by Wendy.
yeah, so I got the Health by Wendy actually was registered to somebody else. So I got Healthy by Wendy, and
Healthy
I
by
know that.
Wendy.
Yeah, I know that's not official
Yeah.
English, but it sounds nice. And I got the other one. I'm gonna forward it, but I don't have the URL forwarded yet. I got it now after 1 year. So it's Healthy by Wendy, and I have Healthy by Wendy on Instagram, and I have it on Facebook, but you can also find me just under my name, Wendy van der Grinten, which is a Dutch name with spaces on Facebook, and I'm mostly active there. And there you have like all my videos. I'm talking about detox. I'm talking about juice fasting. I'm currently on a juice fast. Um, I'm on day 8, I think. Yeah. So I'm doing really good detoxing every day. And you follow how that goes. And I'm sharing everything, like from my protocol to my emotions to the techniques I use. It's not a one-on-one coaching, but I share everything at the moment, and in my group, so that whoever is as curious as I was can just download it and try it out and share and yeah, see how you like it.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic, and it's also, I really appreciate the generosity of your work. You have, again, spent a lifetime investigating all of these things, and you can just feel the deep, deep, deep passion and desire to share all of this. So I think it's speaks highly. It's very beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah, it
again,
is my passion. I think I thought 3 years ago, if I am going to die and all this knowledge is in there, it's such a waste. I have to share this with people one way or the other, that they can benefit and find the information sooner than I did. So this is why I exist, I guess.
yeah, well, that's fantastic, and I definitely hope people will go check it out. It's something I'm interested in exploring. So whether or not you want to go the full dive into a raw vegan lifestyle, or it's just something you want to experience and understand for its detoxification properties, I think it's again, I really appreciate. I've said it already, but I really appreciate your empathy and openness to people who aren't necessarily ready to go the full raw vegan. I happen to be in that camp. I don't see myself going full raw vegan, but I really appreciate the benefits of it from detox standpoint. So again, I appreciate your openness and willingness to share with that community as well. So I think we need to bring those groups together. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I totally agree. Let's bring everybody together. There doesn't have to be hate. We can just be compassionate and share. And if we're all open, you know, then who knows what might happen? We can even have heaven on earth at one point. Who knows?
We can at least, if nothing else, we can all learn something from each other for sure. So
Exactly. And if you ever do want to talk more about detox, maybe at the end of my fast, it's more specific about the 78 days that I did last year, something about this is I'm more than happy and willing to share it with your audience if they feel it's valuable to them.
that's fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Wendy. I really appreciate it. Again, appreciate the generosity and looking forward to following your journey and seeing where it leads you. So thanks so much. And everybody out there, thanks so much for listening and sticking around. And as always, if you have any questions or want to just get in touch, please do. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, be well. Hello again. I hope you enjoyed the interview. And if you're enjoying this podcast so far, definitely subscribe. Also, would you please send me an email, russell@rumblelife.com. I would just love to know that you're out there listening. Just say hello and introduce yourself, and we'll become best of friends, I swear. Take care.